This video is going to be a pretty big departure from the type of content that's been put on my channel or Twitter lately, primarily because it's been draft season and we're focusing on college football players, how they may replace current Ravens players or players that we have let go. In this case, I'm going to pick up a ball that I was carrying for a while and talk about some characteristics of the Ravens offense, some aspects where it's predictable, and I'm going to kind of relate this to how players and teams do film study and what they look for in certain situations. So you have a very weird picture here of the end zone angle, pretty poor Photoshop job again by me, illustrating what 21 personnel looks like from Jessie Bates' view. Jessie Bates is the free safety for the Bengals down here in the bottom right corner. Pretty good football player, shows all the signs of being very intelligent and very versatile. And what I want to talk about in this video is something the Ravens have done dating back to 2020 with Devin Duvernay. So he's been a big guy that they use jet sweeps and reverse. And what I did was I went back and looked in my database where I have film and I have plays labeled and all the information, and I searched for reverses. And I was thinking specifically of a play in 2021 that Jessie Bates shut down, and it'll be the third play that I show you here. And I found 5 reverses. All 5 instances of a reverse for the Ravens were out of 21 personnel. All 5 instances, the ball was on the right hash, as it is here. And all 5 instances, the reverse went to the offense's left or the defense's right. Now, all 5 did not occur against the Cincinnati Bengals, and my database is only from 2021. It was with selected film from 2020, so yes, it is incomplete. I'm not offering to you that I have every single play categorized in a database. I would love to. If anyone wants to help with that, hit me up on Twitter and volunteer. All right, so here we go. Let's look at the first play. This is from 2020. This is going to be a reverse by Duvernay to the top side of the field here, and you can see that Jessie Bates is labeled. He's the field side safety. Let's watch the play run. This is a pretty big gain, 41, 42 yards. And you see that Jessie Bates kind of overruns this thing pretty badly. You know, tracking the back crossing Lamar's face and the guard pulling. So all that's designed to pull the linebackers that are normally reading back and or running back. So pull them, and now Jessie Bates is going to kind of overreact. I shouldn't say overreact. He's going to go with the flow as well. Gets himself caught in the middle of the field, and Duvernay is almost taking this thing to the house. Now, Jessie Bates actually ends up being the guy over on the sideline who makes the tackle, I believe. Let's check out the end zone angle, which is related to the thumbnail that I showed you. There's Jessie Bates. And what do you have here? What are the characteristics of it? 21 personnel. You got your 2 running backs there with arrows pointed at them, Ricard and Ingram. And then your tight end over here is Nick Boyle. Tight end is into the boundary to our left if we're talking about from a defense perspective. Guard pulls, back crosses Lamar's face, little cheap reverse toss back behind him, and Duvernay is, almost taking it to the house. Cool play, wonderful, great. We got a 42-yard gain out of it. We'll take it. All right, later on that season, now this is a different looking formation. You've probably identified that already, but it's the same personnel grouping. Yeah, Duvernay is to our right. He's into the boundary. The ball is on the right hash. Here's what I mean. The ball, this is the hash, so to the offense's right is the short side of the field. To the offense's left is the wide side. That's what I mean when I say the ball is on the right hash. That's from the offense perspective. Jessie Bates is here. He's the field side safety. It's a 3rd and short. We go Duvernay in motion, and you're like, well, Coach, this is not the same play. I agree. Conceptually, it is the same thing, though. Duvernay on our right, an outside run concept. To our left as an offense with some type of backfield flow into the boundary. So I'm talking about the running back flow. Cincinnati was obviously selling out for quarterback sneak or some type of short run there. We caught them off guard, and we ran a reverse. This was like week 17, 2020. If you're interested, that's Josh Bynes right there, by the way. He had 99 tackles for the Bengals that season. Look, there's Jessie Bates, field side safety. We're in 21 personnel. The 2 arrows there is J.K. Dobbins and Patrick Ricard. And then over here, you have the tight end into the boundary, which is Tomlinson. Now, every situation for the Ravens is not predictable like this, but there are some. So what I'm trying to tell you, and hopefully show you, and there'll be people with as much or more experience than me in film study and preparing teams for a game that comment in the comment section. As a defensive player, you study that. As a defensive player, you have a database that's complete and other people, complete and clean up and organize that database for you. And then it's your job as a player and coach to just go in there and search it up and see if you can find situations like this. So you're Jessie Bates right now, pre-snap, 21 personnel, tight end into the boundary, Devin Duvernay across the field into the boundary opposite you. You got one receiver to your side. Let me track back real quick. You got one receiver to your side. In this case, it's Miles Boykin. Doesn't matter what the personnel is. We're just talking about one receiver down here, and originally we had two up there to the boundary, one of which was Devin Duvernay, and he's our reverse guy. Jessie Bates has got to have this in his mind. Now, in this case, he misses the tackle because Devin Duvernay makes a miss. Duvernay's a great athlete. Ricard does a great job out here on the edge. Would this play, quote, work? If Ricard were not here, I'm not sure. All I know is Jessie Bates did identify it. Now, here's where we get Ravens specific. Hopefully, you've stuck around this long. If you're the Ravens and you've run this concept against the Bengals, you've run it once in 2020. Yes, a defense is going to look at film when you play a division opponent twice a year, they're going to look at last year's games. They're going to. And it's a little almost insulting, I think, that we would think that this would work from the same exact formation, same exact set. When I say set, I mean, and if you haven't been looking up here, because I haven't pointed out yet, 21 personnel, and you've got Duvernay down here into the boundary, and you've got two backs, and a solo receiver, or the X, which is Bateman in this case, up to the top side of the field. Is it any surprise that Jessie Bates is cross-reading it? Now, I suspect, well, let's show the rest of the play first, and I'll bring it back. I suspect that Jessie Bates is cross-reading this. He doesn't have a receiver. He doesn't have a second receiver to worry about. There is Rashad Bateman over here. Bengals are a big quarters team. The Bengals are willing to give up the little stops. They're willing to give up speed out almost all the damn time. They really are. Slants and stuff like that, Bates will be able to jump that. But my point is, he knows that I am the cap here, and I don't have to worry about anything. Let's put it this way: if I'm Bates, I don't have to worry about anything in here, or even further to the sideline. He's cross-reading this. He's looking right at Devin Duvernay. He's got complete awareness of this situation, and that was only one play from 2000. Well, two if you count the jet sweep from under center on the 3rd and 1 in Week 17. But my point, and I think this makes my point even better, is that this was only one play from 2020 in terms of a reverse out of 21 personnel. Now I have some other ones against other teams. I'm only showing you Bengals and Ravens film because it was a perfect example. Jessie Bates, field side safety, 21 personnel, some type of reverse or jet sweep to the field. And now we expected this to work. Am I saying we're horrible coaches? No. I'm just saying that we're not adapting sometimes when pressure is on us. And that's been a complaint that people have mentioned on Twitter in the last couple of days as there's been huge arguments about the Ravens offense. And there's definitely validity to this. I forget who it was that said it. I wish I remembered his Twitter handle. But he said, as the pressure has increased, the Ravens offense has broken down, and that is generally true. I mean, we're in the Bills game in 2020 in the division round. We did go down to Tennessee and beat them in the wild card round in 2020. We did have a poor showing in 2019. So I think that those people who say those things, that the pressure has bursted our pipes offensively in the playoffs, there is some validity there. Do I believe it 100%? Do I completely blame our coaches? Well, 2019 I do, yes. But my point is, we are, and I've lost track of that, I guess, is that we are expecting things to work, and the level of preparation in the NFL is such that Jessie Bates back here, field side safety, 21 personnel, so 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and that's being echoed to him in some manner, maybe by the coaches, maybe they've got a placard or a poster they're holding up. We used to have a poster, so with different teams, different weeks, it was different. So when we had 21 personnel on the field, one of my coaches who was like 6'6", 280 pounds, you couldn't miss him, he would hold up a poster that said 30 one week, because 2 + 1 = 3. And when we got 22 personnel, he would hold up a poster, the opposite side of it, that had 40. 2 plus 2 is 4. And the kids memorized it during the week. My point is the personnel is being relayed to everyone on the field. And he's got the personnel, and he knows if I have data, me personally, just some random dude creating YouTube content, if I have data that shows 5 reverses from 2020 and 2021, and all of them out of 21 personnel, and all of them the ball on the left hash, right hash for the offense, and the reverse going to the offense's left, defense's right, certainly they have that. And I think this is proof of it. Even in a one-play situation, teams prepare. Now, we know that this Bengals defense was way improved, drastically improved in 2021. And that's why they went into the Super Bowl. Ja'Marr Chase, big, obviously a big part of that equation too, don't get me wrong. Joe Burrow, a great quarterback, great talent. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great things to say about him too. This defense is what led the way for the Bengals. And if you're a Bengals fan and you've watched this long, you can echo that in the comments if you wish, or disagree with it, no problem. Watch how quick Jessie Bates flies here. Look, no movement at all with the pulling guards. You got the pulling guard right here. Same thing as the first play I showed you. Pulling guard, back crossing Lamar's face. Doesn't matter. Jessie Bates is not worried about it. Pretty much because he knows what's probably coming. Or let me rephrase that. He knows what threatens his side of the field, okay? Let's say you get lead stretch to this side of the field. So you got stretch. You get everybody stepping this way, everybody stepping this way, everybody stepping this way. And then let's say that Ricard is leading up through here and ends up going inside the tight end. Well, that doesn't threaten Jessie Bates half the field. That doesn't mean he's not gonna, he's not gonna get in his pedal, see the run, and then take off at an inside-out angle to try to support. That doesn't mean that. It just means that he knows I can sit for a moment because I don't really have anything threaten me other than this one X receiver. And again, they play quarters coverage. They're willing to give up all this short stuff. Anyway, Jessie Bates ain't worried about that at all. So he can sit here and cross-read it. Now, he's probably got, we say high beams and low beams. He's probably got high beams on Devin Duvernay, and his low beams can probably see, so this is probably his high beams right here on Duvernay, and out of his periphery or peripheral vision, however you say it, he can see, other stuff in here. But he's not worried about the pulling guard. He's not worried about the back, crossing face at all. Smart player, adjusts, and the Ravens have to, if you ask me, self-scout from the standpoint of, hey, what have we run against teams in the past? Out of what personnel groupings? To what side of the field and what situations? And we can assume that other teams are doing their due diligence and doing their preparation to try to stop everything we do. This was one play that I showed you from 2020. I showed you a second play, but that was a jet sweep. So let's say 2. Forgive me. 21 personnel, tight end and Duvernay into the boundary. Offense is right, defense is left. A reverse to the field. Jessie Bates' side. 2 plays. And Jessie Bates was prepared for it in 2001. That's the level of preparation that there is and the level of recognition. Now, I did not see Bates communicate anything to anyone. I'm sure that there were things communicated pre-snap. There has to be. Even if you have 11 geniuses on defense, they're still going to communicate things. Now, if you have what I usually had on defense, you got like 6 smart players. You got 3 pretty smart players, but they're not the guys that are communicating. And then you got 2 guys that are maybe they're great athletes, but they're not going to be your communicators. They're just going to receive the message and maybe echo it to someone to the far side of the field. And this is one thing that's underrated, and if I'm digressing here and you're not interested, no problem, because I am done breaking this play down. One thing that I would say to players is, and you did not see this pre-snap with the Bengals, even if it was a player who was not your brightest, all right, let's put it that way. I would say to him, once there's a call from the linebacker to your left, you turn to your right and echo the call out to the corner. Now, the corner out there might be our smartest guy, okay? So you, as a player, you understand he's already got that call. Still go ahead and echo it. Here's why. Coaches watch film, guys. And if they watch 100 of our plays and they see you never echo in a call, they know you're not one of the guys that helps make adjustments. We don't want to give them that information. We don't want only 2 guys echoing the call. We don't want only 2 guys communicating, because then it becomes obvious who's making the adjustments, who's the now you can pretty much glean it in an NFL situation in college and in high school too. but we wanted to give as much, as many things for them to look at, as many distractors as possible. So, you know, yeah, every single linebacker, safety, DB, safety, whatever, was communicating for my team, and if they weren't, we jumped their shit. And the NFL, maybe they guys aren't doing that as much in terms of pre-snap stuff, but there was definitely some communication. Just trust me on that, even though I didn't show it to you here. You guys let me know what you think of this breakdown. I know I only focused on 3 plays, and I talked for like 15 minutes. I thought it was pertinent because we're talking about a very isolated situation. We know the Ravens' offense doesn't run a whole lot of reverses, don't run a whole lot of screens. The screens we do run are kind of like bubble screens out to bunch side of the formation, and I intend to show some of that. The reason I came about this video idea was I was in the middle of a film study on Devin Duvernay from 2020 and 2021, and I remembered this reverse data anomaly. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comment section. Appreciate any and all feedback.